MBBS. Okay, it is very important topic also. So it will be repeatedly asked during the Viva times. Okay, especially in the clinical also, and now also it will be asked. You should know about the types of fever. Okay, that is very much important in this fever topic. And for each types of the fever, you should know the example also. So when we talk about fever, I hope everyone has experienced fever. Is there anyone who has not experienced a fever yet? I hope everyone has experienced it. No? So fever is also known as pyrexia and also known as the febrile condition. So whenever you hear the terminology pyrexia or febrile thing, then always remember these are the same thing. Pyrexia, febrile, this is fever only. Okay, these are the same names, synonyms only. So it is only a symptom of disease which alerts the physician to the underlying abnormality. Now, fever is never a diagnosis. Please remember that. Fever is never a diagnosis, it is just a symptom. Whenever there is some problem in the body, okay, when there's some findings in the body, then there will be a type of the symptom as a fever. Okay, there can be fever in any of the disease. So can you name few of the diseases where there is a presence of fever? Write it down. Yes, टाइफाइड है ना, अनि अरू अरू के हुन्छ? Malaria, dengue, yes. And now this lockdown is because of what? Yes, I know corona. So like there are different type of the diseases which is associated with fever. So always remember that fever is a part of the, like, it is a symptom. It is never a proper diagnosis, or it is not a proper illness. Okay, if there is any type of the diseases, and it is, there can be association with the fever. Okay, so it is like that. So now talking about the fever, it can be like talking about the temperature of the body. Okay, now it can be normal and it can be subnormal, it can be febrile condition, hypothermia and hyperthermia. So when to say that the body is normal, it is like 98 to 99 degree Fahrenheit. It is not degrees Celsius. Okay, it is degree Fahrenheit. And subnormal, okay, it is like below hypothermia, like that. Then it is like below normal, then it is below 98 degree Fahrenheit, that is subnormal. And next is the hypothermia, that is below 95 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, it is like very dangerous condition. The hypothermia is usually a very dangerous condition. It is usually when the person is like drowned or goes to snow, like that, then there is chances of having hypothermia. And another is febrile. Okay, febrile condition means when the temperature is above 99 degree Fahrenheit. And the another dangerous condition is the hyperpyrexia. It is also very dangerous condition. Okay, and when the temperature is above 106.7 degree Fahrenheit. So remember this. Okay, the different body temperature is like this. Okay, it is categorized into normal, subnormal, febrile, hypothermia, and hyperpyrexia. So there are different methods of measuring the body temperature. So can you just tell me a few of the methods how we can just measure our body? What are the different methods of measuring the body temperature? Where can we measure the body temperature?
Oral, axial, rectal.
Yes, one is oral, Ani. Oral, axillary, rectal. Yes, and another one is now new method is also there. Another is case oiling. Yes, it is thermal gun, or the proper word for a medical personnel is it is infrared thermometer. I know it is known as the infrared thermometer. So we can use like this orally, axillary, rectal, or using the infrared method. So these are the different methods. So see here, one is oral, and the most accurate one and most reliable one is the rectal one. Okay, it shows the most accurate body temperature. And another method is oral, and it reflects the body core temperature. Next is the axillary or groin. Also, we can measure the temperature. And the latest one method is the infrared thermometer, from where we can just use by the radiation only. So in this way we can have a different type of the thermometers. Now there are certain contraindication of taking the oral temperature. Okay, there are certain conditions where we are not allowed to use the thermometer in the mouth, like for example, for the infants and children, small children, when we just put this thermometer inside their mouth, they can just bite. Okay, they can get hurt. So it is not, we just don't recommend the oral thermometer to them. And another is with Down syndrome, usually for the like mentally retarded people. Okay, we don't let them to do the oral, measure the oral temperature. And in conditions like there is presence of seizure, okay, if there is presence of convulsions, we don't do use the oral thermometer. Okay, and then another is after taking the hot tea or hot coffee. Okay, when the mouth is very hot after taking hot diet or hot tea or hot coffee, definitely the temperature of our oral cavity will be raised, and so it will just show the incorrect temperature in the thermometer. Okay, so we won't be doing the measuring the oral temperature in that. And another is when there is inflammation within the oral cavity. Okay, certain type of inflammations, okay, like that, usually in the ulcers, athos ulcer, if there is presence of athos ulcer, we don't recommend taking the oral temperature. And if there is dyspnea, now what is dyspnea? Dyspnea means what? What do you understand by dyspnea? Yes, it is difficulty in breathing. I know, like patient of COPD, patient of asthma, we won't be measuring the oral temperature in such condition. Right? And another is if the patient is unconscious and if there is trismus, okay, trismus, and if there is Bell's palsy, and if the patient is mouth breather, then we don't recommend measuring the oral temperature. So these are different contraindications of taking the oral temperature. We won't be doing that. So I told you this is very important. I know the types of the fever is very much important. So one of the type of the this fever is continuous fever. The word itself is clear, it is continuous fever. So just go through the definition. It is like temperature remains above normal throughout the day and does not fluctuate more than 1 degree Celsius in 24 hours. Okay, this means there is presence of fever. The temperature is more than 99 degree Fahrenheit. The temperature is above that, above the normal temperature of the body. The person is having the fever. But what happens is the temperature between the when the person is examined 2 times, the two measurement, then there won't be the fluctuation of more than 1 degree Celsius. Okay, it should not be more than 1 degree Celsius into measurement of the body temperature. And throughout this 24 hours, it should be like that. So then we'll be terming this type of fever as continuous fever. Okay, so the example of the Continuous fever is one is lobar pneumonia, typhoid, meningitis, and rheumatic fever. So these are the example of the continuous fever. Now another type of the fever is intermittent fever. Okay, intermittent. The word is saying intermittent. So what we understand by this intermittent fever is the temperature elevation is present only for a certain period, later cycling back to normal. Okay, it comes for a while only. That is what is intermittent fever. So in this intermittent fever also, it is divided into three types. Right? One is quotidian fever, another is tertian fever, and next is quartan fever. It is of three types. This intermittent fever is of three types. Now talking about this quotidian fever, it means paroxysm of fever occurs daily. Okay, there is like daily rise and fall of the temperature. This means that pattern, quotidian fever means the pattern of the fever is it is like fluctuating. Sometimes it will be like the temperature will rise and sometimes it will fall. Okay, this type of fever is known as quotidian fever. And the example of this quotidian fever is UTI, sepsis, tuberculosis. Okay, and now do you know like what type of fever will be in tuberculosis? Like it is quotidian, that what will happen to the type of fever? Do you know? Please write in the chat room. A1 is asking what is trismus. What type of fever will be present in tuberculosis? In tuberculosis, it is said as evening rise, isn't it? Yes, it is termed as a evening rise of the fever. The fever is typical, that is evening rise of the fever. Okay, daily there will be in the evening time there will be the rise of the temperature. So it is a type of quotidian. Okay, the pattern of the fever will be like that. There will be rise and fall, like in the example is UTI, sepsis, and TB, like that. Understood? So next one is tertian fever. Okay, this tertian fever means the paroxysm of fever occurs on alternate days. That means like the pattern of the fever. Okay, the pattern of the fever will be like it will occur. The fever will reappear on each after 48 hours. Okay, that is alternate day. After 48 hours, there will be again presence of the fever. Okay, so and I hope you have gone through malaria, malaria. So in Plasmodium vivax and Plasmodium ovale, this type of the fever will occur. Okay, there is after alternate days, there will be the rise or the presence of the fever that is known as the tertian fever. Now, third one is the quartan fever. Okay, in this quartan fever, there will be like tertian is on alternate days, whereas quartan is like 2 days interval. Okay, today there will be fever, and after again 2 days, there will be the presence of the reappearance of the fever. So this type of the pattern is known as the quartan fever, and this occurs in Plasmodium malariae. Is this clear? So please, you need to go through the definition of this. It is very important. So please remember the definition of the types of the fever. So now another type is the remittent fever. Okay, in this remittent fever, the temperature remains above normal throughout the day and fluctuates more than 1 degree Celsius in 24 hours. Okay, like it is in continuous fever, what happens? There is no rise above 1 degree Celsius. But in remittent, it is more than 1 degree Celsius. Okay, the remittent means there is a fever, but it is like the difference between the two measurement will be more than 1 degree Celsius within 24 hours. So remember like that. So that is the remittent fever, and it is like clearly seen in the liver abscess. Okay, that is one of the very good example, liver abscess. So remember, liver abscess, tonsillitis, and bacteremia. So in this condition, there will be the presence of remittent fever. Is there any queries? Is it clear? The definitions, is it clear? Okay. Now next one is the Bell-Epstein fever. Okay, in this Bell-Epstein fever, a specific kind of fever which is present in Hodgkin's lymphoma, being high for 1 week and low for the next week, and so on. That is like it gets alternate on each week. Okay, there will be the presence of fever on each. It Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, I think I just lost my connection. Did you hear of Bell-Epstein fever
No, ma'am.
and remittent fever?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in Bell-Epstein fever, what happens is like there will be like it is a type of fever in which there will be like presence of fever for 1 week, and on the next week there will be the absence of fever. It will be in the normal temperature. Okay, and then again on the further next week there will be the fever, like that on each alternate week there will be fever, and again on next week there will be like no fever. It will be the normal body temperature, and this type of the body temperature is present is in the disease which is known as the Hodgkin's lymphoma. Okay, Hodgkin's lymphoma, such type of fever is present, and this type of fever is known as Bell-Epstein's fever. Is it clear? Kison Obuze, is there any queries?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now another, you should know about the causes of hyperpyrexia. Okay, when this causes of the hyperpyrexia is like malaria, septicemia. Okay, it is one of the very dangerous condition. The bacteria is present throughout the body, that is known as septicemia, and another is encephalitis. Also, there is presence of hyperpyrexia, and another is lobar pneumonia, heat stroke, and rabies. So in this condition, there will be the hyperpyrexia. Now another is causes of aseptic fever. Have you ever heard of aseptic fever? Aseptic means what? What does that terminology means? Aseptic conditions, like that. Asepsis means what? Okay, now aseptic condition means it is not presence of the organism. Okay, there is no organism involved in this condition. Aseptic, I know septic means there is presence of organism. Aseptic means there is not presence of the any organisms. So the causes of aseptic fever is heat stroke. Okay, another is drug fever, drug induced type of the fever. Okay, there are certain condition where after taking the drugs there will be the presence of the fever. Okay, so another is in mi, myocardial infarction. Another is gout. Another is in the radiation sickness. So on this condition there will be the aseptic fever. Now have you ever heard of terminology heat stroke? Do you know what do you understand by heat stroke? Heat stroke means when there is extreme high temperature. Okay, there is extreme high temperature, then the person will have the problems with uncontrolled type of like having high grade fever. Okay, there is electrolyte imbalance. Okay, the patient can get fainted. Such condition is known as heat stroke. When there is like excessive high temperature, then the person can face with heat stroke. Okay, that is what is known as the heat stroke. And so these are the different aseptic fever, causes of the aseptic fever. Now another terminology you should know is about the fever of unknown origin. Okay, there is a terminology fever of unknown origin. Please remember this. Okay, this should be also be in your tip of the tongue. So what do you understand by fever of unknown origin is when the fever is higher than 101 degree Fahrenheit on several occasions, a duration of fever for more than 3 weeks, and failure to reach a provisional diagnosis after 1 week of inpatient investigations. So these three things should be mentioned when this fever of unknown origin is asked. Okay, like there should be a fever of more than 101 degree Fahrenheit. It should be present. One condition is that. Another is like the duration. Okay, like the how much duration of the fever. It should be like more than 3 weeks. Okay, it is already more than 3 weeks, then it is fever of unknown origin. And the third criteria is there is no any diagnosis made. Okay, there is no any diagnosis made even after the 1 week of the admission. Okay, 1 week of admission in the ward. Okay, inpatient, and the patient will be in like admitted in the hospital. In the inpatient also, like there's no any provisional diagnosis that is made through the investigations. Okay, in the hospital. So these three criteria will if these three criteria is met, then it is known as fever of unknown origin. So but what will happen is even though like it is termed as fever of unknown origin, but later on after doing all the many investigation, then there will be like one time where the doctors will finally go through the final original diagnosis. Okay, the doctor will go for the final diagnosis. So this is what is known as the fever of unknown origin. Like there can be this fever of unknown origin can occur in like lymphoma, leukemia, different type of carcinoma, okay, SLE, tuberculosis, liver abscess, and fungal infections. Like in this condition, it can be initially it can be like it can be taken as the fever of unknown origin because these conditions are very difficult to come into the diagnosis. So for timing, it can be termed as the fever of unknown origin. Is this clear to you? This fever of unknown origin, you थाहा हुनुपर्छ है तिमीलाई. So now another is fever with rashes. Okay, there are like certain condition in which there is like fever is present, and along with fever the rashes is also present, and this is usually asked. Okay, so please remember, there are different type of fever, there are different type of the fevers where the rashes is present. There is the association of rashes, like for example chicken pox, smallpox, measles, enteric fever, rubella. In this condition, there is the rashes is present along with fever. Is there any queries till now? Is there any queries?
No, ma'am.
Okay, now another is how to take the history. You know, whenever such patient comes, you know, whenever the person comes to you and there is a presence of history, like always remember you have to ask the travel history. You know, like in this coronavirus time, also in this pandemic time, also the first thing we just ask to the patient is there any travel history or a presence or not? You know, have they come from out of the country? Have they just traveled from like border area, like that? Okay, so the one of the most important in this fever is travel history we have to ask. And another is the contact history also. Now contact history is like where you close to the person, like who were having a fever, who were having an infection, like that. Okay, from this corona pandemic only you must be clear about what is the importance of the travel history and contact history, isn't it? So another is the personal and social history, you know. So like in personal history we have to ask about whether there is like a multiple sexual partner is present or not. We have to ask whether the person is having some like drug abuse or iv user, like that. We should ask such thing also. And another is we have to know about the occupation. You know, this is very much important. Occupational history is also required. So like for example about the people who are working in the like carpet factories, or people who are working in the like clothes factories, they're highly exposed with the toxic chemicals. You know, they are highly exposed with the toxic chemicals, and from that toxic chemicals there is chances of having carcinoma. You know, there are very much high chances of having carcinoma. And also people who are working in the like radiology department, who are exposed with the radiation, like that, they are also having chances of like carcinoma. You know, so another is like in occupational history, if the person is working in poultry, like that, then what can happen? There's chances of having avian influenza, isn't it? So like that, we have to trace the history. You know, what is the occupation, how, whether they have traveled from any place, whether they have been in contact with any of the infected person. We have to know about the occupation. Like that, we have to take a proper history. From the history, like more or less, we'll come to 40% of the diagnosis of the disease, and rest from the investigation. Think like that. Okay. So another is now investigation. So there are different type of the disease that leads to the fever. So when there is a fever, and we don't know, you know, we can't correlate what is the like problem with that patient, then there are different type of the investigations which we can do, like the CBC, ESR, CRP, okay, swab. We can take the swab. I know. So another is like iron profile, okay, and then electrolytes, and then lipid profile, and liver function test, USG, okay, and RBS, and blood films, okay, thick and thin smear we can do. And from the urine we can do the culture or RE, and from the stool also we can do the RE and the culture. From the blood, we can do the culture. We can conduct the chest X-ray. We can do ECG. So like this, we can conduct the different investigations and go for the diagnosis of the disease. This investigation will help us to know what can be the cause of the fever for the patient. Okay. So now next is the prevention of fever. So now in talking about the prevention of the fever, now for this corona only, the advertisement is repeatedly coming in the TV and in the mobile also. It is coming every time. What to do? It is hand washing, isn't it? So frequent hand washing is must. Another is like regular disinfecting the house, and in the workplace it is required. We have to clean our house using the disinfectant. Okay, and eat healthy diets, that is highly required. No junk food, all those healthy foods should be taken. And use of the vaccines, whatever vaccines are present, it is better to take all the vaccines according to the country wise. Like it is not required that in our country, in Nepal, there is no presence of yellow fever, so we don't have to take the yellow fever vaccines. Like that, according to the country, we have to take the required vaccine. That is very much effective. So next is regular health checkup and regular treatment. That should be done. So in this method, we can go for the prevention of the fever. So this much for today. Is there any queries?
Thank you, ma'am. No, ma'am.
So